It is 5:34 on July 9th, 2026. I'm going to call this meeting of the Morton County Commission to order. Our first item of agenda on the agenda will be our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do our roll call. Commissioner Morrell.
Here.
Commissioner Tokash. Here. Commissioner Buckley.
Here.
And Commissioner Bain, myself, are present. Commissioner Zachmeyer hopefully shows up here in a little bit. We also have Auditor Roan up here at the front, State's Attorney Copy, and Sheriff Kirkmeyer in the back of the room. Next will be the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add one agenda item.
Okay.
Under others on 8, and that would be Morton County, I'll call it temporary morgue. Just a discussion item.
Temporary what?
Morgue.
Temporary morgue. Okay. Any other corrections or additions to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as amended. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the approval of the minutes previous meeting of June 23rd, 26 of Morton County Commission regular meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the minutes of the June 23rd, 2026 Morton County Commission regular meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the June 23rd, 2026 Morton County Commission regular meeting. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have monthly bills and payroll. Commissioner Tokash.
Commissioners, I've reviewed the monthly bills submitted so far this month, and they're all appropriate. So I move to approve monthly bills and payroll.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve monthly bills and payroll. Is there any discussion? One question, Don, did the Fair Board second payment get in there?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you.
That was their second payment, I believe, right?
Yeah, that's the second one. We can start paying our bills then as they come in. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Tokash.
Yes.
Commissioner Buckley.
Yes.
Commissioner Morrell.
Yes.
And myself, Commissioner Bama, yes. Motion carries. All right, with that, we'll move into our agenda tonight. And first up is going to be our Morton County Extension. Jaden Russell and Dina, I think, is also going to say something too. Dina, fill in, I guess, as we know.
All right. Good afternoon, Commission. Thanks for having me here tonight. I'm Jaden Russell. I'm the A&R Extension Agent for NDSU currently. Obviously, we'll address the elephant in the room. So I have accepted a new position full-time with the North Dakota Army National Guard, and so I'll be resigning effective 31 July. It's been nothing but great since I started here. It opened the door to 4-H for me. Having zero experience, I've learned to love that. It didn't take much time for me to fall in love with the county fair and achievement days and everything else. So my plan moving forward is just to make sure that we have a smooth transition. I will be here during achievement days to help support that process. I think we have a pretty good plan moving forward. We've been working on it the last couple months. Some different improvements this year, so I'm excited for what the achievement days look like. And yeah, I just want to take this time to thank the commission and thank the people of Morton County. It's been really fun, really great. A lot of brand new experiences that I never thought I'd be a part of. And I plan on volunteering because I know the needs that we need for volunteers in 4-H, and so any chance I get, I want my name to be thrown in that hat to ask for whatever it might be. So I guess before we move on to Dina, if there's any questions from the commission or anything like that, I'm all ears.
Quick question, what, your statewide position now, what's your title? Because I was reading that in your resignation letter.
Yeah, so my title is going to be the Emerging Technology Coordinator for the state of North Dakota. It's basically, they need somebody to run the drone and counter-drone program for the state, and then utilize 3D printers to become self-sufficient in kind of the new technology world. So I'll bring that new technology from like Big Army or other states and bring it to North Dakota and train the units on whatever that might be, but it's drone focused, so.
Yep. Cool. Commissioners, any questions for Jaden, comments?
You're still planning on moving to Morton County, correct?
My wife and I did move.
He is
We moved here in February. We moved to west side of Mandan, and our goal is to build a house south of town. We own 2.5 acres, so that's our long-term goal, but we won't ever be moving Morton County.
Okay.
We will be here for the rest of our lives for sure, so.
I think your wife's family has a little input on that one too.
Yeah, I think if they had a say, we would have been up here a long time ago, so.
Well, Mr. Chair, just a note for the records that 4-H Achievement Days is not complete yet, so there's still opportunity to change his mind.
Yeah. We can keep working on
We
it.
can work on that.
Any other comments?
Good luck, Jaden.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wish you all the
Good luck.
best.
Thank
Don't
you.
be a stranger.
Oh, we won't be. I won't be.
Good evening. Seemed fitting that I would come tonight following that announcement, but for your record, my name is Dina Kemet, and I am the Central District Director for NDSU Extension, and I come with formal action. Seeing that we have a resignation, I need approval from the commission, a formal action, before I can move forward with filling the position, and of course, I have to get the state approval as well. But I'm going to be on vacation when your next meeting is, so I thought better sooner than later so we can get the process started once I get the green light. So I seek a motion from you. If you have any questions, I have provided each of you with a packet that describes how we fund extension agents, if you want to take a minute to look at that. I think you're all familiar. If you have questions about the base policy, though, I would certainly be happy to answer anything.
I think we know that.
If not, I feel like 4-H, if there are no questions, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, for me.
Yes.
So after Jaden leaves, is there some things that will need to be covered? Will they be covered by another agent in the area?
Yes, it is common practice for us to ask neighboring agents, and we have a very efficient agent in Burley County, and I'm counting on him to cover it. If not, we'll go west and find somebody else, but we will make sure all those reports get submitted.
Okay. I'm glad that he's sticking around for the fair. That's really nice. Thank you,
I am too, and
Jaden.
I do want to publicly thank Jaden because it's been nothing but a joy to work with him. I mean, I'm sure all of you can agree. He's been very on top of things.
And we even taught him something about dairy cows.
Yeah, that's right.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion, we authorize NDSU Extension the need to advertise the position to fill for Morton County Extension Agent.
I'll second.
All right. It's been moved and seconded to allow NDSU Extension to move forward with the hiring process as a general term here. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. And if
Can I-
anybody knows anybody that fits that position and wants to be an extension agent, especially if you have 4-H background.
My last bit of business would be then to just formally ask that I work with Nathan as the portfolio holder commissioner. Okay. And we'll talk about who else will be on the committee. If there are any volunteers, speak up. Thank you.
Thank you, Dina. Thank you, Jaden. All right, moving on. We have Sarah Eastman and Anita Bonner for YouthWorks. Bonner or Boner? Bonner?
Bonner.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Eastman. I serve as the program manager for YouthWorks Short-Term Care and Assessment Center, and I thank you for the opportunity to be here again this evening. This is my third year being able to come in front of you, so thank you for that. As many of you know, YouthWorks operates the community's only emergency shelter for youth under the age of 18. Beyond providing a safe place to stay, we offer prevention services, family counseling and reunification, victim services, and ongoing support for youth and families after they leave our shelter. Our mission is to provide a safe, supportive environment where young people feel heard, valued, and connected to the resources that they might need. During 2025, law enforcement agencies in Morton County, which includes the Mandan Police Department, placed 15 youth into our shelter. Those placements resulted in approximately 1,300 hours of direct supervision and care. While placement numbers vary from year to year, having a shelter available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, continues to be an important resource for both law enforcement and the youth in our community. More importantly, our work goes beyond providing a bed for the night. We focus on helping youth and families resolve the issues that brought them to us in the first place, with the goal of preventing future law enforcement involvement. Simply put, providing a safe place to sleep, a warm meal, and caring adults during a difficult time can make a lasting difference. Our budget is built using historical utilization and anticipated community need. Law enforcement requires a safe option for youth, whether they are runaways or involved in situations that make returning home unsafe. We also recognize that detention is not always an available or appropriate option due to eligibility requirements and the detention screening process. In many cases, shelter care is a more appropriate alternative that reduces both costs and liability while giving youth access to supportive services rather than confinement. Like many communities, several of our partnering jurisdictions contribute financially even during years when they may not have shelter placements. They recognize the importance of maintaining the availability of these services when they are needed. In addition to county support, YouthWorks receives funding through United Way, federal grants, and private fundraising efforts. The Youth and Family Engagement Center, which we opened in 2024, has now been serving our community and continues to expand the support available to youth and families. The center provides a safe place for youth during the day and early evening while offering social emotional programming, life skills development, mentoring, and other positive activities. Its primary focus is to prevent youth from entering the juvenile justice system while helping them build the skills they need to be successful. YouthWorks has also maintained its state certification as a certified shelter for youth who are children in need of services. As I shared last year, we continue to accept referrals from social services for youth who are also not in custody. This operational model allows us to best utilize our staffing, our space, and resources while remaining financially sustainable. In the past, maintaining certification for both CHIPS and delinquent youth created significant financial challenges for our organization. One of YouthWorks' greatest strengths is our commitment to working with the entire family. Our family counselors help address the underlying issues that contribute to system involvement, while our mentoring staff provide individualized support for youth both during their stay and after they return home. We've already seen encouraging outcomes from these enhanced services as youth continue building healthy relationships and developing skills that support long-term success. On behalf of everyone at YouthWorks, we thank you for your continued partnership and investment in the youth and families of Morton County. Your support allows us to remain available whenever a young person needs a safe place and someone to help guide them forward. I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Commissioners have any questions for Sarah?
Yes, Mr. Commissioner,
Go ahead.
I've got our shelter care budget line item.
I was looking at that too.
Can you explain that to me a little bit? Because we're looking at 2024 actual dollars of $44,879. 2025.
Can I interrupt? That's not YouthWorks. That's the Youth Correctional Center.
Okay.
It's just that top line. It says
Just the
YouthWorks is
top
all
line.
of hers.
Yep.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
This department's called Juvenile, so it
Okay.
covers
All right.
YouthWorks and the YCC.
I thought we were covering both line items here. Okay.
The sheriff would be able to answer more questions about YCC
Okay.
line item.
And he might be asking some about that line. Okay, any questions for Sarah?
Nope.
For Youth Works?
Mr. Chairman, I do have a
Yes,
question. We
Jackie.
have the extra sheet that we have got,
Yes.
the budget sheets with the allocation from every
Yes.
jurisdiction?
Yes.
So how is that determined? Can you refresh my memory as to how that's determined?
Yeah, so that is something I would have to get back to you on, but one thing I can tell you is that we have not asked for a budget increase from anybody, any of these entities this year. How those rates are determined, I am unsure, but that is something we can get back to you on.
Okay. So I was just curious, like City of Mandan is $15,277 and Morton County is $34,298.
Amanda had way more kids.
Yeah. So I guess I was just
Yeah, and there's a
curious.
difference in the number of kids from Mandan to Morton is quite a few less, but the dollars are way higher.
I can get back to you.
Okay.
If you just want to email me, then I can share it.
Yeah, for sure.
Is it correct to look at that as Morton had 4 individuals?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Whereas then the City of Mandan had 11.
Yeah. And
We had more days though. So that makes a difference too.
I don't have any other questions, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.
Anybody else have any questions for Sarah? Nobody's speaking up, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. Next we'll have Mr. Bachmeyer. See, there's Mr. again. Morton County Water Board.
Good evening, Chairman Boehm, members of the commission, Auditor Roan, Wade Bachmeyer, Chairman of the Morton County Water Resource District. We have submitted our proposed 2027 budget along with balance sheets. For 2027, we are not asking for any increase in mill levies. We've kept our budget very level for many years. We're proud of that. We've been able to keep expenses lower by leveraging other state or federal dollars. Well, a couple of items of note, a little more than halfway down under Morton County water projects, we have a Willow Road floodway. We have some maintenance issues on that floodway that need to be dealt with. At this point in time, we do not have a solid estimate on what that is going to cost, so the $5,500 is a placeholder. In an ideal situation, that'll cover it, but most likely it will not. And if it does not, then we will pay for the balance out of reserves. The other item of note is towards the bottom. It would be the Harmon Lake NRCS Maintenance Reserve. That is a reserve that is required or was enacted and required as a result of using federal funds to build dam site number 6, which is Harmon Lake. And every year we need to increase that by an amount to cover inflation. So on the next page, you'll see that our proposed income, again, is going to stay level at $183,000. Proposed expenses of about the same amount. Our focus in '27 will be much the same as it is in '26, and that is working on upgrades to the Missouri West water system, as well as continued involvement in Missouri River issues with the Missouri River Joint Water Board. One of the things, 2 things, salaries and travel, that has increased quite significantly because of the Missouri River Joint Water Board and our program called EAE, but we are able to offset that with funds, reimbursing funds from the joint board. With that, I will stand for any questions.
Mr. Chairman, I think Commissioner Zachmeyer could come up with that $5,500 on Willow Road. He lives there.
He lives on Willow Road, but unfortunately, or for him, fortunately, he is not part of that drainage.
Yet.
I'm so witty today, aren't I, Commissioner Morrell? This
getting up there
started
with-
before the meeting.
You're getting up there with me.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I've said it
Yeah.
other years, I'll say it again. I believe the Morton County Water Boards are our absolute best board. They do the most with very little. Every project that they take on is successful. Their extra knowledge and advice on different planning and zoning items has been invaluable, and they always bring a tight budget. And they should be commended.
Chairman Bain, Commissioner Zachmeyer, thank you.
So you talked to, one of your big things is gonna be Missouri West upgrades and that kind of thing. What are some of those, I mean, we just had a project going south of Mandan with this wedding venue, and they're telling us there's not enough water, and, you and I talked just a little bit upstairs, but explain just a little bit of some of those upgrades that you're looking at, or some of the other things that really we need to look at.
The main one we're working on right now is the replacement of we're working on replacing the master meter, which is located just on the north side of Mandan on 1806, west side of 1806, in the area of the subdivision, I believe it's called Seven Winds. So anyway, we need to replace that master meter, which is the main pumping station for northern Morton County as well as going west. So that's item number one. The second thing is we call it the flasher tank, but it is the water tank that is in between St. Anthony and Flasher in the Fallon area. That tank has been giving us trouble for a number of years. We've just been putting Band-Aids on it, but it's beyond Band-Aids anymore. We need to replace that tank. And then thirdly would be an addition of another water tank, water tower, north of Mandan at the intersection of 1806 and County Road 140, up in that Harmon area. With that project, we already have the land secured. Our former manager, Mike Chemnitz, was had very good foresight in purchasing and securing that land. So those are the major items, and we're talking several $1 million. Along with that comes applications for matching dollars from the Department of Water Resources, State Water Commission through tax dollars or oil tax dollars. And right now the department and the State Water Commission, they did a study called the Deloitte study, which projects into the future what the oil revenues are going to be, and obviously they're anticipating that the oil revenues will begin to not diminish, but level off and go lower. So they're looking at cost share changes. Instead of 75% on some things, they're looking at dropping it to 50% and so on and so forth. So the dollars are going to be a little tighter in years to come.
Appreciate that, because when thinking about it, when we talked upstairs, your budget doesn't match with those kind of dollars that are needed, and you're going to be doing a lot of legwork to grab those other funds.
That's correct, sir, yes.
And I just wanted that out there too.
Right. So for the rest of the board's information, the Morton County Water Resource District budget, what we're dealing with here tonight, that is totally separate from the Missouri West. The district oversees Missouri West, but the funds are kept separate. There's no commingling of funds.
Any other questions for Wade? Oh, looks good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Wade. All right, Natalie, planning and zoning. He's the only one online, so.
Good evening, Commissioners and Auditor Roan. Our first item is the Erickson subdivision. This is in the northeast quarter of Section 5, Township 139 North, Range 81 West. This, you can see this line is the extent of the Mandan extraterritorial area. So the subdivision is just north of there. This is 1806. All of the yellow is currently residential. Everything else is zoned agricultural. So this lot, it's at the end of the subdivision road. There's a cul-de-sac. It has access off the cul-de-sac. So essentially, all the applicant is looking to do is reconfigure the existing lot that a home is located on. So right now, it's kind of a square. They want to reconfigure so that the home is situated better within the lot boundary. They happen to also own the large acreage around it. So the residual kind of fragments that they're shaving off, so to speak, with this different shape of lot is going to be absorbed into a replatting of the whole acreage around it. So they don't need permission to do this Outlot E, but this is just to illustrate that this large parcel is going to absorb kind of the corners that got taken out of the existing lot. So essentially, this is just permission to reconfigure one lot that was non-conforming ag. They're bringing it into conformity by rezoning to residential, and then they're platting this larger outlot to absorb those fragments from the old parcel.
Make it square.
I asked that
So
question
back to
before.
that, they have, so they're dedicating an access and utility easement going from the public right-of-way, the cul-de-sac, down to the remaining acreage for that Outlot E. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm recommending, or Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the short form subdivision and rezoning from ag to residential, but I can take questions if that was confusing.
You see the quizzical looks on her face, so
I
why you
did.
would totally not make a square. I mean,
You're looking for a square?
yeah, this is just an odd piece of land out there now.
Yeah, it is. They have, I mean, there's
And I
lots
can,
that have been taken out of that larger.
and I can
piece.
foresee it coming back in the future and making it even again. That's what-
Stranger things have happened.
I mean, that's just what happens here. You're gonna come out and wanna draw a straight line down and make it one uniform nice lot.
So I'm gonna zoom in here and see if we can see this a little better. So you
Oh,
can
there's-
see this.
The white, can you see the white
Yeah.
there, Nathan?
Here, I'm
Okay.
gonna get a.
No, I can see that.
Here. So this rectangle is what it used to be, and you can see the boundary is very, very close to that house. I would imagine, I think there's some terrain there they wanted to keep. I think there's a tree row there, so keep the tree row, keep kind of just a boundary around the house, like a setback from the lot boundary for the house that just makes a little more sense. I think that they had probably broken off this rectangle as people did in the past, and then thought it was one place, but it wasn't, and they set the house down in a weird spot, and, so forming something that probably makes more sense with the terrain that's there.
So those other ones to the bottom left, is that a residence or is that barns?
That's a residence, and that is a separate lot.
Okay,
This is a residence, that's a separate lot, and that also is is on a separate lot. So,
but yet everything gets absorbed that they're cutting off into the whole.
into the bigger piece, yep. So, this, yeah, you can't really see it, but, so, like, this is a lot, and that's a lot.
Yep.
And then there was one here, and that's just becoming part of this bigger.
And that's all zoned ag.
Yes, that's all zoned ag, as it should be, because those lots are bigger.
Mr. Chairman, so the other houses, they're still zoned ag then, or they're residential, Natalie?
No, they're ag,
They're ag.
yep.
And
And they're
so-
on big enough lots to be ag. This was the one lot in there that, well, I think outlot D is non-conforming. Yeah. This one is non-conforming
Yeah.
because it's still ag and it's not big enough to be ag, but the rest of them are
Okay.
big enough to be ag. So this is really just bringing this lot that's non-conforming into conformity and rezone it to residential.
And for the commissioners, Summer Drive, which is the road coming up to that lot at the end of the cul-de-sac, that was just repaved last summer. And so it's brand new pavement to the cul-de-sac, and then the rest of it'll be their driveway, and so it's up to them to maintain. And won't cost, it's not up to us to go in there and plow the roads or maintain those roads.
Mr. Chair, a couple of questions. So Natalie, Lot 1, or the subject property, obviously is owned by the one property owner. Did you say that the 182 acre outlot E, that is also the same property owner?
Right, and it's slightly complicated. There were some relatives that had passed away, but the powers of attorney and so forth, for sake of simplicity, we're going to say it's the same ownership
Okay,
situation.
sure.
Yeah.
So then curiosity then, Lot 2 of Lot A versus Lot A, the ones to the north? Are those the same property owner?
Lot 2.
Oh, no,
Those are different property?
they're different.
Okay.
Yep, those are different. Otherwise, it probably would have gotten combined, but yeah. no,
So
those are different.
basically, the lot irregularity lines will still be within the family?
Yes, yep, exactly. They basically combined what they could combine. Those lots that are kind of cut out, those are a separate ownership situation, so they can't, and you wouldn't want to combine them anyway because they have houses on them.
Right. And as far as that north boundary, how I would see it, is that north boundary is carved in such a way that allows for a second egress going into outlot E.
Yeah, if you wanted one, even though
Right.
this, so this access easement is to serve this lot, but it's also to serve this remaining
The south ones,
outlot E.
correct?
Yeah.
And I see on the colored image how the approach going into said property is coming from the south. The color graphic. When you zoomed in and I see the approach road itself coming,
sure.
coming from utility, yep.
It's going up
loops,
that way.
yeah.
It loops up from the south. So
Yep,
that,
yep.
I guess that makes sense in trying to comprehend the
The
methodology.
orientation of the building, yes, correct.
That little notch on the bottom left, is that buildings there, is that a hill there, or is that,
Yeah, I don't know.
when you zoomed in?
Yeah, I think if we really zoom in there, it looks like there's maybe, I don't know, something
It might be terrain also.
Well, like tanks maybe
Yeah.
that serve something else. Yeah, I don't know what those are, but there's they had a reason for notching that out.
I'll say the survey company definitely earned their money on that one.
Mr. Chairman?
We've had some
Yes.
strange shaped lots before.
Yeah.
And Ms. Pierce, I haven't been up in this area, but it's safe to say none of those roads are up to county standards?
It's not a road. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not. And we talked about that in planning and zoning, like, this is a private drive. In fact,
Right.
this is this going down into there, that's a private drive. None of it is a county road.
Right. Okay.
So it's up to them to maintain it. And that's quite a long one. I wouldn't want to have to try to get in there in February, but that's their business, I guess.
I was just thinking about what may be coming here, so.
Yeah, and we had that discussion about, access, definition of access, but it's so far away for one plat that's so much closer in that we just decided, let it go, access for Lot E, and then they can sort it out, the rest, the westerly stuff later. Again, because it's all private.
This goes back to the last meeting we had where we have an irregular variance again. It's not normal.
Yeah, well, and I wouldn't say it's a variance, but it's a very strange shaped lot. We had
Yeah.
one in, not High Country Estates, yeah, High Country Estates. Yeah, a very strangely shaped lot not too long ago.
Any further questions, commissioners?
Are you ready for a motion?
Yeah.
I move to recommend approval of the final plat of the short form subdivision known as Erickson subdivision and a zoning map amendment from agricultural to residential as the request reduces zoning nonconformity.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the final plat of the short form subdivision known as Erickson subdivision and a zoning map amendment from agricultural to residential. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Our
The
second
next one isn't any
item,
better. I was just talking to Nathan.
oh,
That's odd. I looked at it before the meeting.
our second item is the Noose Third subdivision. This is in the southeast quarter of Section 32, Township 139 North, Range 82 West. This is located on 28th Avenue off of Lyons Road. So this is a total of 29.94 acres made up of, well, so we have, let's see down here. So we have an existing residential, this was subdivided properly, zoned residential, there's a house on here. This was non-conforming, there's a house on there. These are outbuildings. What they want to do is extend this lot. So no extra house, just keep the house, but make this lot bigger. And then extend this lot to include the whole tree row and just reshape that lot. So that would be 2 residential lots in block 1, so lots 1 and 2, zoned, both rezoned to residential. And then this is essentially just non-conforming residual acreage on the east side of that road. It's only 0.84 acres. So rather than just leaving it there, that is being included in the plat. That's a section line, so there's a natural break there. It's not like it can get combined with land on the other side of the section line because there's a natural break. So just to define that as a lot, but zoned estate because we don't want building on it, it's too small. So 3 lots, 1 estate, 2 residential. So that's what it looks like, defining the right-of-way all the way up till it reaches the section line. So this is block 2, lot 1, and then lot 1 and 2 of block 1. Planning and zoning.
2, 3.
Planning and zoning recommended approval, and I can take questions if you need clarity on that one.
So, Mr. Chair, I can definitely see the delineation between, which is very helpful for the legal aspects. Block 1 combines lots 1 and lot 2. Block 2 is the remaining of lot 1.
Yep, exactly, yeah, because this road had bisected that lot, so it was really, this whole thing was one parcel, but it was bisected by the road, which is problematic, and it's better to clean it up. So this is cleaning it up.
Right. Meats and bones.
Yes.
Clean it up on one side. I can see straightening out that east side a little bit. The other stuff is still, yeah.
I think they were a little cramped in there.
Must
Those
be,
lots
yeah.
were kind of small.
They are,
Yeah.
but just keep throwing them out there. Any other questions, commissioners?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve the final plat for short form subdivision known as Noose Third Subdivision and a zoning map amendment from agricultural to residential for lots 1 and 2 of Block 1, and from agricultural to estate for Lot 1 of Block 2 on approximately 29.94 acres in the southeast quarter of Section 32, Township 139 North, Range 82 West, Morton County.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the final plat of the short form subdivision known as Noose Third Subdivision and a zoning map amendment from agricultural to residential for lots 1 and 2, Block 1, and from agricultural to estate for Lot 1, Block 2. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Our next item are some changes to our section 2-200 use table and section 2-210 dimensional table in the land use code. You have these in your packet. First one is, I'm not gonna zoom in there, but essentially adding battery energy storage and data center to the use table as distinct uses. These are not coming with all the detail, it's just purely adding them as a separate category of use so that we don't have to try to find some best fit category. And those would be special use permit in ag and industrial with conditions. So pretty straightforward, just pulling those out of the, as distinct uses. And then we had a good discussion at the last P&Z meeting about setbacks for accessory versus principal structures for residential lots, commercial. And we added to the standards for dimensional table a better definition of rear yard, front yard, and what you do with corner lots. That's been sort of just up to staff discretion for many years, and I think the development community will probably appreciate having that better defined and predictable. So that is in your packet, just adding 3 points for rear yard, front yard, and corner lots. And then we had a whole bunch of footnotes about setbacks, and P&Z recommended take all of those footnotes out. Just take them out. People want variances, they can apply for variances. then changing to, we used to just have plain old setback, and now we're breaking it out to setback for principal structure versus setback for accessory structure like a garage. And we settled on 20 feet, because that's a reasonable amount to set back a garage, even if it's large. We talked about basing the setback on height, but then that's not so predictable because you got to go out there and measure it. How high is it and how far is it? And we thought it would be much better just to have a standard setback, but that it makes sense to have a different setback for house versus shop. So separated those out into two categories. And yeah, so that's the recommendation as it's in your packet. I think it was a good discussion. And makes things clearer for our development community.
So basically, Natalie, no, it's 34 and 35. I was gonna say this one replaced this, but it's not. It's front yard, back. Okay, you're fine. I got it.
Okay.
No, I looked at it and I just thought one was replacing the other and it's not.
And I had a very similar, it's possible the pages may be different from your last packet. I don't know if you have your old one there. Maybe that confused
No, this
things,
should be
but-
the newest one that,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and I should mention too, that there is that change in the industrial zone for no height limit. We get such specialized things here that it kind of doesn't make sense. Usually if there's something going, big industrial project going in, it is the height it is. I don't think anyone's gonna find it to be cost effective to build skyscrapers on the prairie. So we took that out. There's no height limit in the industrial zone.
oh, everything's gonna be special use anyway, so.
Right, exactly.
We're gonna be looking at that in the process.
Exactly.
Okay. So we need to approve these then?
Yes, please. And you can do it by one motion as presented, or you can separate them out, whatever you think is best. I think if you agree with all the changes, one motion is probably fine.
Okay. Commissioners, any other questions or a motion?
Just, go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the amendments to Morton County Land Use Code, Section 2-210, the dimensional table regarding industrial district height standard, building setback, and the amendments to 2-200 use table, as presented.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the Morton County Land Use Code section changes 2-210 dimensional table regarding industrial district height standards, building setbacks, and amendments to the 2-200 use table. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
And then just an update, the subcommittee from P&Z doing data centers met on Tuesday. I combed in the updates into that draft. It is out online. So this is even an update since the last time we talked. This is going to be theoretically the draft that goes to P&Z on the 22nd. It is out online. You can access it. Again, if you want me to email it to you, I can. And then did want to mention, I would imagine you're probably all aware, but the legislature appointed a subcommittee on AI and data centers, and they are having a meeting on the 15th on that topic. I did write to our local representatives on that commission and volunteered and said if they want any advice or have questions about planning, please feel free to reach out. We have been working on this ordinance for quite a while and, just made myself available. So.
Did you just send them a copy too?
I could, yeah, now that we're.
Literally, isn't Representative Porter on
Yes.
that committee?
Yep. And he said he would forward my contact info onto the chairman.
Yeah.
And he said he had read some of our drafts, but I think we've got a lot of updates, so I'll probably just send it to him again.
Might not be a bad idea,
Yeah.
then they have it in their hands and
Yeah, I think I'll do that.
see all the work that's been put in.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and yes, I printed it off this afternoon, so
Good.
it's on there. It's not hard to find either.
Good, okay.
So.
Excellent. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. All right, next up, Chase, our Assistant State's Attorney. We'll be looking at tab number 4 in our book.
Good evening, Chairman Boehm, Commissioners. So you should have in front of you our proposed 2027 budget. Most of the items stayed the same as opposed to prior years. I would note the large percentage number at the bottom. It does indicate a 28.9% increase. However, I would note, oh, is that not?
No, it's a 0% increase.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know how yours is different.
Just, the one that got submitted was that,
I have,
Talking salaries, I think.
oh, you're talking salaries, not overall.
overall.
Yeah, overall's a net 0. It's almost, yeah.
Did the wrong one get submitted?
A $77 decrease,
Decrease.
actually.
I don't
We
think
like
that's
those.
correct,
No.
Chase.
Did the wrong one get submitted?
I think so.
We really like
What
that
is,
budget.
I guess, what is the budget you guys have for attorney's
approve it right now.
fees?
Quick.
Quick.
Approve
Attorney
it.
fees,
Item. Should be the second one right below the
40,000.
highlight. Oh, weird. I don't know. Maybe it's just the numbers when I ran them.
Can
but-
can I see yours quick?
Yeah.
Maybe there's some formulas that were not correct.
We're
Yours is
gonna-
actually lower than mine.
We're gonna.
Oh, you have a decrease of 1%.
Oh.
So it's a little bit different than mine for some reason. It's some salaries, because Wendy had some
Okay.
salary adjustments, so we upped some salaries for some
Oh,
market
okay.
things, okay? So you're actually
So the total.
$78 less than last year.
Okay.
And
'cause
the
total
big
on the form-
the big difference was, you had some open positions last
Yeah.
year, and then when you hired people, they came in a little less than what you had anticipated.
Yeah.
And I think we had a lot more family, health insurances last year, and then with turnover, the replacements came on with singles, so.
Okay, because yeah, that, on the worksheet one, it has the big highlighted percentage change. And that one was showing me 28.9, but if that is not the correct number, then I am okay with
Yeah.
submitting the budget as is. I mean, the budget numbers appear to be identical, so, just to explain the change to, that big change to the attorney's fees one, Auditor Roan can speak to this. This year, for some reason, the courts have located a provision that requires the county to cover indigent fees in private parenting responsibility cases. If both parents are determined to be indigent, the court can order the county where the child resided to pay that parenting investigator and/or guardian ad litem's costs. That has come up now twice this year, despite having never come up before. Additionally, when our office has a conflict of interest, and we have to hire outside counsel, instead of coming out of whatever office's budget the lawsuit or attorney is needed for, it's been coming out of ours, which is fair. We just figured that our budget should actually reflect roughly the amounts that we're spending, so. This also includes our communications with NRG about our increases, or our changes to our computing needs, swapping out old laptops and old computers for new ones, so. As far as salaries go, I would just note, obviously, State's Attorney Copy is not running this year, so his position will the attorney position will have an open one technically in January that we will have to fill. Sounds like State's Attorney Copy would like to stay. Obviously, we still have to go through the normal process of having individuals apply. But given that his salary is the highest in the office, it seems appropriate to leave that as is in the budget for now, and then depending upon who is retained and what that looks like, that may not need to be as high as it currently is. Any questions, comments, concerns?
So what, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
What
Commissioner
kind of a percentage are you looking at for Alan to be working, and what would be his pay scale?
So it sounds, my understanding is if State's Attorney Copy applies and is functionally rehired, it's weird phrasing, but that his plan at this point, it sounds like, is to remain full-time. That would have to be a discussion we had with him and any other applicants as to what they were looking for as far as employment. If they were looking to be full-time, part-time, what their salary expectations would be, and the like. Obviously, if State's Attorney Copy does apply, is the only one who applies and gets the position, he has a vast wealth of knowledge that is not made up for by the remaining attorneys in the office, so his salary would have to reflect that as well, and his years of service with Morton County.
Well, with all due respect, Mr. Chair, I think that whole dialogue, understanding budget pretense here, but that whole dialogue is a little premature when we're looking at opening the position. It's going to come with a salary range, and that'll be decided at that time frame.
Right, correct. That's just the normal process.
Correct.
That it has to be handled that way.
Correct. So it's advertised within that range,
Yep.
and the pay would be commensurate based on experience.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Commissioner Tokash.
Just a quick comment, and in regards to the budget, I'm still left here wondering, what budget are we actually looking at? What's accurate, what isn't accurate? And I get the sense that we're being asked to assemble a budget rather than a budget that you can strongly defend.
Can I comment? So his does match mine, what you have, except for his just had a little bit less for salary line items because Wendy had some market.
Right,
So-
so we're dealing with an actual
Yes, this is
proposed
exactly
budget
what
right
he
here.
submitted, other than the market adjustments we made
Okay,
on salaries. Yeah.
Basically what's in orange.
right.
The early on
Yeah.
confusion was because when this gets printed out, it doesn't include the calculations at the bottom. And that calculation at the bottom does not include the budget change with salaries.
That calculation was for operational budget to try to keep it at zero, but it showed 28% increase in operational budget because of this increase on that attorney fees. So it was not including salary and benefits. So their operation costs did increase by 28%, but their budget went down by $77.
So that's where that confusion came
Yeah.
from. That's my bad.
You go up 31,000 for attorney fees, but down 33,000 for the health insurance.
Yep,
Right.
I've got that.
Just flip that around.
I just want to make sure we're working off of the same numbers.
Yeah.
Now, we've established that we are. And again, I have the sense that it comes across more as a wish list of a budget than one you're ready to strongly defend.
Apologies if it comes across like that. I will note each of the items, there was discussion between myself and the office manager regarding what our needs were, where we were at, what we were doing, what we were going to prioritize in the coming year. So again, that 31,000 is to more accurately reflect that we were about halfway through the year and we're looking at already having spent $25,000 on attorney's fees. So bumping us up to about 40,000 just on average, looking at the past few years. With regards to out-of-state travel, for example, that was increased to accommodate additional conferences. Juvenile Drug Court is now wanting to have conference attendance by the ASA in that, as well as the fact that there are going to be new treatment courts. There's a mental health court and a domestic violence court, and oftentimes that comes with additional conferences that the court would like us to attend as well. So those, at least one of those two is getting going in the next year. The other one's still early on in its development, but is likely to be either late next year or early in 2028. Mental health, that was decreased by about 500 just to accommodate where we were at originally, just to keep it in line with what we're actually expending on that. Off-site storage, that was modified with a discussion of NRG based on what we're currently spending, which is $787.14 per month, which includes data costs as well as our monthly storage. On-call, we would like to set that at $15 a day, so $5,475, just to reflect the availability of our employees. Obviously, anytime we get a call, it can be anything from, hey, this is zone worker X, we have a child, so we're gonna have to have a hearing tomorrow, to, hey, there's a dead body. So just reflecting the fact that
So nonchalant.
well, to be fair, that one is somewhat based off of the first time I had the duty phone, because anyone who's received that call knows that there's a tone. Mm-hmm. And I asked, so what do you got? Do you got a dead body? Yeah, there's a dead body. I'm like, oh, cool, awesome. Really just spoke that into existence. So, our capital outlay stuff, that budget, $7,457 for a new printer. There's additional expenses in there for office software, labor, and disposal for computers. $11,613 of that budget is for 4 new laptops. Our laptops are getting old and slow and aren't always able to run all of the software we need them to in a meaningful fashion in court. So there have been times where we've been presenting exhibits to jurors and our computers decide to not load video exhibits. So we're waiting there for what feels like an ungodly amount of time, but is realistically probably 4 minutes. Either way, it's inconveniencing Morton County citizens to have to keep them there even 4 minutes longer than they would need to be. So looking at getting the 4 laptops replaced, it would be 1 cycle ahead of when they need to be replaced, but it would be appropriate to get that done because they are fading faster than they should be.
So that's your capital outlay,
Yes,
but yet you went down 1,200.
Yeah.
correct.
But, Mr. Chair, I'm looking at office supplies, which increases 3,000 against capital outlay and copier expense, which decreases 3,200. So it's kind of an offset.
So the office supply increase by 3,000 is for case folders. Anyone who's ever seen us go into court knows that we have case folders that have stickers on the side with numbers so that we can easily identify them at a glance when they're back in the storage racks. We were quoted at $2,247.75 for new case folders, but what we don't know and what we can't conclude right now is what the actual freight amount is going to be for that. So that's why it's rounded up to $3,000 increase there.
But again, you're increasing that, but you're also decreasing the other line, so it's an offset.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a one-time, for now.
For now.
It's going to take a while till you need more again.
Yep.
Okay.
I believe it was 4-ish years ago that we bought the last ones.
Okay.
And the computer exchange, obviously, that's a timed activity. You know, yeah, you're a year ahead of schedule, but again, we look at whatever your capacity needs are, and, you know, that's something that just gets worked through in the end. But again, if you're getting them built big enough that can allow the storage, the speed, that can buy you another year of use, so it can get back on the same cycle.
Correct.
What was the reason going down on the copier expense? You just, less copies, more
Just-
digital?
We purchased a large printer last year, so.
That's right.
There's just been some fluctuations with what computers we're replacing, what
it.
copiers we're
That's
replacing,
right.
and toner and all that, so.
But Ms. Chair, you look at historical,
Yeah, it's not that high.
right? So 4,000,
It-
4,026
budget, but your expenditures to date is zero. In previous years, it's, $500, so I think that's reasonable. The curiosity though for the attorney fees, again, looking at historical, so how did you come up with that 40,000? Was it just based off of 25 as a high?
It's based off of essentially 25 is the high, looking at 24, it was 15, looking at 26 thus far, it was on trend to be, if that is continued in the second half, roughly 50 to 60.
Okay.
So trying to figure out the balancing point there of about 40. Again, that money gets spent whether it's in our budget or not. It's just trying to have a specific line item that roughly approximates the amount that gets spent.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, and I may be looking at this differently, but, if we look at historical outlays, forget about the budget number. Historical outlays, we're building I'd say a 25 to 30% cushion into our budgeting. And that's just overall for the state's attorney's office. And again, it's nice to have a cushion, but when's enough enough? And that question is for this whole group.
Higher at a salary range.
And
So it's gonna go
as
down.
indicated,
So you're
it's
not gonna
either
hire at that
a
salary
budgeted item or if we have to pay it, it comes from somewhere, right? And there's no way to predict what suits may happen, when attorneys may be needed, when outside counsel may be needed, when the court's gonna have a parental responsibility case where they appoint an investigator who has to do 60 hours of work a week on it to get up to speed. So it's a difficult, that one is arguably the most difficult to predict, because if we were just relying on how often our office gets sued and needing outside fees there, we'd be pretty solid. I'm gonna go ahead and knock on wood. But because we have the county, as a whole, that our office gets pulled from, that's why we tried to build that a little bit higher.
And again, I'm not
Yeah.
particularly taking issue with the state's attorney's office with this. Again, it's a topic we should all think about is we're justifying a budget to our taxpayers, and we're trying to predict the future. That's what a budget is. You're trying to predict the future. But do we build 30% into every budget and then expect the taxpayer to pay that?
Right.
Those are my questions, and again, it's not specifically towards your department or the state's attorney's department, it's for all departments.
That's fair.
Paul, are you referring to just the variance in what their actuals were to what
I'm
the
looking
budget
at-
is? Yeah.
yes,
I can
you're
do
correct.
I can do a little digging here to kind of see in the past years where, what the budget was and how much less it came in and where it was. A lot of it might be, some of it I'm just looking across, health insurance looks like, there again, if we budgeted for a family and ended up being single, I can put together some numbers as to where the differences were in the past in the budget numbers versus actual.
I'd appreciate that if we could look at, I'll call it enterprise-wide, but county-wide, and where we end up.
Yeah, from past experiences, I know that the state's attorney's budget historically has been the one that has had the most variance between actual and budgets. There aren't many other ones that have, our other budgets are also small, with the exception of road and sheriff.
Right.
So I can do the big ones and just kind of look at those.
That'd be great, because again, I get looking back at a past budget, but for me, it's more important to look back at actual outlays and then work off of that and say, okay, this changed, and so we have to increase this, or this changed, so we have to decrease that. But, and you have to have a cushion, I understand that. But, you know, and again, we're dealing with old history, 1 to 2 years old, 3 years old. So there's inflation that goes into that, but we're looking at a, you know, from 2025 actuals, what we're projecting is close to 30%, you know, increase.
Yeah.
For what, you know, what we've spending versus what we're budgeting. So, or 30% cushion, I should say.
Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing the numbers from Auditor Roan as well.
Mhm.
And I'm more than happy to come back once we have those and discuss the budget again.
Yeah.
I think your next meeting is when I'm in Alabama, but any of the other times after that. Or I can send somebody else.
And if I just quickly look here, I come up with over $400,000 that's different between salaries and benefits. So I think that's where the majority is gonna be. We had openings we budgeted for, and they didn't fill, or they hired somebody with lesser amounts or something. So I think that's where it's gonna be, but.
Yeah, and I appreciate those comments, but again, that's why it's so accurate to try to figure out what your staffing needs are gonna be moving forward and all of that.
Yeah,
So we're not budgeting for open positions that we don't plan on filling.
that's fair.
Okay, so that leads me to another question, Mr. Chairman, if I may, is that you have an open assistance position. Is there a plan to fill that position? And which attorney is that related to?
That I would have to double check on. I apologize, I forgot to print the salary sheet of this, but all of our attorneys currently have assistants assigned to them.
Okay.
There is a front desk position that is open. It's a weird
So who's
clarification.
the,
So right now,
the front desk person?
right now our front desk is being staffed by Kara. Kara is also functioning as State's Attorney Copy's assistant.
Okay.
So she was hired as, Kara was hired to fill the front desk position. So that is why the assistant position, I'm guessing, appears open on there. It's just a matter of what her designation was and is based on that. But her salary remains consistent with what's reported on there.
So you have 7 attorneys, correct?
Yes.
And so, yeah, there's 7 assistants on here, plus Hunter, who is not an assistant, right? He's just your
He's
office
an
manager?
assistant.
Oh, he is, okay.
So
I'm not sure.
let me walk through it. So State's Attorney Copy has Kara as his assistant. I have Rachel.
Okay, slow down a second, okay. Okay, you have Rachel.
Yep.
Okay.
Joshua Breeze has Hunter Thompson.
Okay.
Nick DeQuisto has Lance. Almost forgot his name for a sec.
Lance, okay.
John Klein has Melissa.
Melissa, okay.
Declan has Kim.
Okay.
And Michelle has Abby.
Michelle has Abby.
And then there should also be our victim witness coordinator, our office manager, and victim witness coordinator.
Okay, Pam is
and-
not an assistant.
No, Pam
Okay.
is a victim witness.
Okay.
Pam's a victim witness.
Okay, so
And
yeah,
then
everybody matches up, so that open assistant's actually the front desk person.
Yep.
Did you say Jonathan?
Yeah.
Who does he have?
John
No,
Klein.
Jonathan on the
Jonathan
bottom, he's the
Vander-
investigator.
Vanderhoff's the
Okay,
investigator.
okay, that's right.
Sorry, there's
Sorry.
there's two Jonathans, I should have clarified.
I forgot his name, I'm sorry.
And Pamela's the victim
Yep.
coordinator.
So, right now, Kara's role is split between, like I said, front desk and legal assistant, just because of State's Attorney Copy's balance of having a caseload versus his other commitments to the county, allows Kara to have the time to cover his caseload while also fulfilling the other obligations she has. Once those obligations transfer, that balance may require her to become a legal assistant, swapping over into that position title and leaving open a front desk position.
But you have an open assistant in the budget.
Correct.
So that you wouldn't hire anybody else.
I
would hire-
mislabeled it, it's front desk.
Yeah.
It should
It
say
should
front.
say
I know, but I'm
desk.
saying there's an open position.
Yeah.
The open position is because the front desk and assistant positions should be two separate positions. So there should be a separate front desk and a separate assistant for Al. Right now,
She's
that's being
doing
filled by
both.
one person because
She's doing both.
Kara's amazing at what she does and can handle both very well. Once the caseloads readjust, whether Kara can handle front desk and that caseload will become a question. So we're asking that that position be left open so that we can determine whether or not we need that next year, once that actually happens. It's remarkably difficult to predict what will happen next year, given that this is an election year and State's Attorney Coffey has been here for so long. It's hard to predict and determine what that will look like. Any other questions for me at
Yep.
this point?
Commissioners have anything else right now? Or
Does
no, go ahead.
Jonathan Vanderhoff have support staff?
No,
He does not need support staff?
correct. He is a one-man
Show?
task force.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Anything else at this time? Andy, good? Okay. I think we'll reserve the right to bring you back after
Okay.
your trip, but
Let me know.
thank you for the
Bye.
info.
Thank you. I'm gonna head out because I got the heat for tonight, so. and it's cold.
Thanks, Jace.
Thank you.
All right. All right, moving on in our agenda. Auditor Roan, you're up next.
I think Commissioner Zachmeyer has this first item.
Mr. Chairman, it's just, the first is for information only, that the University of Mary withdrew their request for MITA bonds from us. They said they were able to secure them through other jurisdictions. And then the next part would be to approve policy number 200-006, which has to do with MITA bonds. It does bother me that University of Mary went from MITA bonds that they've asked for before, now all of a sudden they're educational revenue bonds, and the only reason I recognized it was terminology that they were using that I knew was in MITA bond law. And then all of a sudden now they're bank qualified bonds. And again, it takes it away. What is the century code is it's MITA bonds. It bothers me that they would change titles. So on this policy, it used to just be the MITA bond policy. But it was, I added educational revenue bond, which we probably should even add bank qualified bonds. And then what the policy and procedures would be under North Dakota Century Code to issue those bonds. Because otherwise, I don't think it's gonna trigger somebody to know what they're asking for. Unless they know what is in state law, or they recognize the Century Code quotes. But I think it was done deliberately. Hate to say it, but I think it was done deliberately so that we wouldn't check. that they're educational bonds and we want to support education, and we would just more or less approve them. But when we said, no, we're gonna check to see what we need, and you go back, it's about MITA bonds. They should have just called that from the beginning. But anyway, I think we need the policy. The policy is attached. It's basically the same policy of what Cass County uses. Now, previous county commission did not want to charge the $1,000 fee for using MITA bonds if it's a Morton County project. So I did have that in the original draft way back when, but then, you know, the argument was as well, they'll just move the $1,000 into the MITA bonds, and they're really not paying it anyway. And then it's, is it fair for, if it's a Morton County project, the $1,000 is waived, but if it's not a Morton County project, then the $1,000 is implemented, and that just led to a big thing. And by the time it was done, the vote was not to approve the policy. But since University of Mary came back and requested it again, and then just threw it out there, because before they didn't want to spend $1,000, but now they just threw it out there, well, we're willing to give you $1,000, like it's out of the kindness of their heart. Where did that come from? Well, because state law allows you to charge it. But they were acting like they were doing it on the benefit of that, you know, we're doing this for you. And that was the uptake I got from it. So this way, every one of them, you're charged $1,000. If it's a Morton County project and the county commission in the future then would say, well, it's a Morton County project, we'll waive the $1,000, they can address it then. But to have it out in the open, and you want to come to the county commission and request our MITA bonds, you will pay $1,000 application fee. And that's what Cass County does too. And state law does allow it.
So Commissioner Zachmeyer, you have the 200-006 in there. And then right after that's that bond resolution. Is that part of the whole?
Is that the one, that was the one that University of Mary gave us, and so you can see how they titled it.
Okay, so that was just an example from,
Right.
to base off of from what we're approving in the policy, which is the first 3 pages. Okay,
So yeah, the other one was an example of just how they
got it.
titled it.
So we don't have to do anything with that?
No,
that
that's just
piece,
an
correct?
example,
Okay.
and that makes sense.
So if the board wants to just leave it at MITA bonds, that's fine too. If they want to add educational revenue bond, and I just put that up there for discussion, or bank qualified bonds, because that is what's in the email withdrawing their request. You could add that to the title. But it's something that, if the board is sitting here and someone comes and says, I want to do some type of revenue bond, that it triggers the memory of the board, they are asking for MITA bonds, and there's laws that address it.
Mr. Chairman, a couple of comments.
Yes, Commissioner Tokash.
One, Commissioner Zachmeyer, I believe you hit on a term that might encompass a lot of it, is a revenue bond, you know, and I don't know how many other ones are out there, so that may be appropriate. Also, I don't believe our intent would be to add that example in there stating an applicant. Is that correct?
No, that was just to look back at how it was titled when it was presented to us.
Okay. And then the other one is just, I respect your opinion on this, but I don't know what was in their heart when they came to apply for this, and if they had some ulterior motive. I believe, they were fairly straightforward with it. Maybe the terminology was different, but I believe they were straightforward with what they were requesting. But I have no problem at all with adding verbiage in there to try to encompass more types of bonds.
We have educational revenue bond there. If we could just call it a revenue bond, that would cover anything else somebody throws at it.
We hope.
Yeah,
That was the only reason it's there.
but the bank qualified bond, I don't think I'd have heartburn adding that either, because that's specifically how they termed it
Yeah.
a couple different times.
Well, and when University Mary did, request, we didn't know how much money, what bond money we had available, and we wanted to check that out.
Right,
Before we made a decision.
right. Yeah, we didn't turn them down.
No,
Yeah, we asked for time, is what we did.
Right.
Yep. I don't know.
Mr. Chair, my one critique would be if, just a simple Google search here, other names for MIDA bonds, there's a litany. So if we come up with something that would be all-inclusive, MIDA bond is a very common term within government, but coming up with an all-inclusive term that can provide a generality that kind of buckets everything else,
Would revenue bond do that?
that's what I'm checking here.
Revenue or bank qualified, either one of them, or both.
Or other examples of revenue bonds. Yeah.
It's just a matter of the titling in here.
It is, under Century Code 40-5709, MIDA bond stands for Municipal Industrial Development Revenue Bonds.
So technically it fits into that revenue bond description. Is that your opinion?
It can be.
Okay.
but our attorneys left the room, so.
Both of them.
And then another one is Municipal Industrial Development Act.
Right.
It might have.
Yeah, it still comes into the same definition, but again, looking at whether it's a, what was the term you used?
Bank qualified or educational revenue is what they used.
Chairman, Commissioners, this thought came to my mind. Scott Wagner has been here multiple times for different bond item-related things. He's very versed in bonds. He's a bond attorney in town. I could call him and ask what his opinion is on what verbiage would include
Right.
the whole umbrella.
I'm not opposed to the proposition. I think we just want to get
The title.
titling. So if there's ever a loophole, we don't have to chase that rabbit.
Yeah, 'cause when I read through this, I have no problem with anything in here. Nothing at all.
So, Mr. Chair, if the author, Commissioner Zachmar, would be willing to just, bring it back at the next commission meeting, allowing our auditor to do that little extra legwork on it.
On the title.
The only thing then would be is you're asking a legal opinion from another attorney, and you need the state's attorney's opinion to ask that legal opinion from another attorney,
Which would give us time.
which is also Century Code.
Yeah.
I'll ask Al to call him.
There we go. If he's willing, or Mr. Lingle.
We'll just, we don't even have to table it. We'll just, let's bring it back the next meeting with an answer on that title or
Just a confirmation of
opinion.
terms.
Opinion of where we're at with it. But, I don't see, there isn't anything else in here we need to, that I want to discuss at all. And I don't argue with the $1,000, putting it in there either.
I think it needs to be in there.
Okay. We're all in agreement on that then for now? Okay, then we will move on. Auditor Roan?
Okay, the next item is Fair Board appointments, and I guess, I don't know if you, Nathan, if you have anything to add to
There,
that?
are they in the packet? They were.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
There. So, at our last Fair Board meeting, we had two people come to us and ask if they could be volunteering or helping out with our Fair Board. And we asked them if they wanted to be associate members, and they said, sure. So we had them submit the applications to us at our meeting on Monday night. The Fair Board approved moving them forward for commission approval. If they had no problems with either of these people, that they would be associate members, not board members. Those board members we elect in January, at our January annual meeting, so.
So even though this Craig Hort, on his application, it says board member, voting member, it would be an associate member?
He's just he can only be an associate member. The board members would be, out of our associate members, would be voted on by the board.
Gotcha.
Or by the annual membership. So, just asking for them to be approved as associate members to the Fair Board. And anybody else that wants to be an associate member, we will take your help. There's always something to do.
Mr. Chairman, I know Sophia Yocum. She'd be a great addition to your
She would.
your board. I know she's in school most of the year in Oklahoma, but she was an active 4-H member, and so I think she would be a great addition.
And she is back right now.
I don't know Craig.
Southwest Grain Manager.
And Mr. Chair, I'm just looking at your bylaws here real quick. Of, just confirming you got parameters identified for the associate members.
Should be in there.
You got board of directors, you got membership, Morton County Fair Association,
After we disassembled and reassembled that board, everything was moved to come through the commission for the time being. So we just bring them back whenever somebody shows up
Okay.
right now.
So just for clarification, Article 5, Section 3, which defines the associate member. As a non-voting member, volunteer based on their talents, time, expertise to promote and success the Morton County Fair.
Pretty simple.
Yep.
We just want your help.
Make a motion to accept the associate membership for Craig Hort and for Sophia Jochum to the Morton County Fair Board as associate members.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Craig Hort and Sophia Yocum as members, associate members of the Morton County Fair Board. Is there any discussion? I think I said that right. Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, our next item.
I gotta step out.
Next item is appointment to the Planning and Zoning Board. We have one 4-year term that will expire June 30th of 2030, and then we have one unexpired term, which expires 6/30 of 28. So we have 2 appointments to make, and we have 3 applicants: Luke Capella, Andrew Dahl, and Joseph Camisa. Camisa. Germans don't know how to say that.
Yeah, and Ray called her Jokum too, so it's Yokum. All right, with that, so what our 4-year term is the one for Rebecca Wald.
Yes.
And she was kind of our ag representative on there. And the other one is the unexpired term for Jesse, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I know all 3 gentlemen are in the room, so and whichever one of you wants to be first and give us a little background, we love having our people come.
Thank you, Chairman Boehm, Commissioners, Auditor Roan. Name's Andrew Dahl, reside in New Salem, live north of Sweetbriar Lake. Currently farm with my wife, and I have a 4-year-old daughter, 2-year-old son, raising corn, soybeans, wheat, and a cow-calf operation. I am currently a recovering dairy farmer.
as we have exited that industry in 2022. Currently sit on the North Dakota Soybean Council as a director for the southwest region of the state and running the checkoff dollars through the Soybean Council. I sit on the Southwest Grain Advisory Board for Southwest Grain, and I'm also president of the Morton County Crop Improvement Association. And I would entertain any questions from you.
Commissioners, have any questions?
Can you tell us why you applied, Andrew?
Because I have personally witnessed what has happened in the county to the north that shall not be named in this room. That has turned into a mess, and that turned into a mess because people in my generation sat back and didn't get off our butts. That's why I'm here. I've got a follow-up question. When you say it's a mess, can you get a little more specific? I've watched the chairman try to change agendas. There's been a lot of, a letter that went out with the chairman's name on the board, speaking for the board members doing their individual research out of committee on the project. None of that was right. Okay. The board should be presented to provide the facts, evaluate the facts, and make a recommendation to the county commission. It should not exceed that.
Okay. Any other?
Ray's coming back in, maybe he has some questions.
Yeah, Ray missed the good stuff. You have any questions?
I will have to say one thing though, since this has all come in the last month, my soybean council duties, I have strategic planning the 23rd and 22nd, 23rd in Fargo. I am not sure if if you did choose to put me in a position that I would be able to join that meeting live at 5:30. I think I have some freeway that I can get out of that strategic planning, get to a motel room, bring my computer, and join that meeting virtual. Going forward, all meeting dates, there are no conflicts. We are set from there.
Okay.
Just to be upfront.
Andrew, just to address that a little bit, we have board members that have gone on virtually through the computer as well, and so that's not an issue.
Yep. I assume I can get out of it. They said we're normally done by 5, but I've told my wife I'll be home in an hour, and it doesn't happen.
Oh, an honest farmer.
Yeah, no comment.
I've got the luxury of watching that board work from a distance. I'm not on that board, and I, quite frankly, I'd like to let them do their jobs and evaluate what they bring to us. Having said all that, I view that board as one of the most important boards we deal with in the county. There's a lot of things coming out of there, and I like a broad diversity of opinions, but it quite frankly, it goes beyond a single subject. It touches on a lot of different things, and it falls into the legal aspects, quite frankly, a lot.
And another reason I'd like to be a part of this is the professionalism that is happening in this room is above standard. The way that commissioners treat each other, respect the chair compared to what you witness and happen in other counties. It would be a goal of mine to continue that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Just, we don't talk football at the dais.
He's a Jacks fan.
Yeah. Years up, man.
Well, there went that conversation.
I would have worn my hat, but I didn't think it was appropriate in this room.
Okay, anybody else? Nope. We're good? All right, thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Chairman Boehm, Commissioners, Auditor Roan, a little bit about me. I work for the North Dakota Bureau of Criminal Investigation. I live in rural Mandan in Morton County. I live on a farm with my family. The farm was established, I believe, in 1899, so it's been in the family for a long time. So I kind of understand that the heritage that comes along with Morton County and the values that come along with that. In my career, working in law enforcement, I started off with the city of Mandan. I was a police officer in Mandan. I went to the Drug Task Force. That's currently where I'm at. I'm a coordinator for the Metro Area Narcotics Task Force, as well as with the BCI. I do investigate fires. I'm a part of the ATF National Response Team and the Fire and Arson Strike Team. With those duties with the BCI and in law enforcement, I've had a chance to work with many stakeholders in this room, to include Andy and Auditor Roan when it comes to budgets and grants that come through the task force, as well as a lot of legal matters with State's Attorney Al Coffey in the back of the room. I've even worked with Joe Camisa in the past when he was with Mandan Police Department. So I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of figures and stakeholders in this community. And to echo what the last individual said, a lot of professionalism, and I want to continue that as well. It's given me a chance in my job to do a lot of different things, not just working with stakeholders, but also I've written bills, I've testified in front of legislative committees, and worked with legislators to get those bills through. So I think one of my strengths definitely is the legal side of this, and the team building and the cooperation that comes with planning and zoning. I think I can bring that to the table as well. But I think for me, the most important thing, the opportunity this provides to me, is I do have a family, like I said initially, and I have 3 young daughters, and to me it's very important to me to ensure for them that we shape a thoughtful future for them and the people of Morton County. You know, I have a lot of opinions about things, and I think that people who have a lot of opinions should actually be part of government and actually work to make those things better, not just say those things. And that's what I want to do, and that's what I think I can bring my experience, my love of Morton County, and then my, just like I said, goal to shape the future for my daughters and raise them in a great community that I love living in. So I'll stand for any questions if you have any.
Commissioners. Got them contemplating.
What's that?
I said you have them contemplating.
I'm sure I've been asked a lot of really difficult questions before, so whatever you got, throw it at me. You know.
I do have one. Your
Commissioner
name
Buckley.
doesn't sound like a Morton County name, so I'm interested as far as, you said the family farm.
Yes,
So-
it's actually on my wife's side.
Okay.
So it's Frystead was the name.
Okay.
So it was William Frystead settled it. I think the original deed was signed by William McKinley in 1899, and then a second deed was signed by Teddy Roosevelt, I think in 1904. So,
Okay.
and ever since then, it's passed on. And we're lucky enough, when my father-in-law passed away, we actually went before the Planning and Zoning Board to get section off some of that for residential, but we still maintain the bulk of the family farm in a trust, and we rent a lot of that out to our neighbors to do cattle and to raise feeder crops.
So you're not actually involved in the farming, agricultural operation of the farm then?
No, I don't.
Okay.
It's not my direct implements, but we sign the contracts
Sure.
and we work with them. And
Okay.
my father-in-law was a very big proponent in agriculture has got to be with the land and doing it right, and so he always was very hands-on with how many cattle were out there, so it wasn't overgrazed, and who was on the land and who we leased the land to make sure that it was done the right way. And I think that my family, my wife and myself, in taking over those responsibilities, believed we continue that, and we're very hands-on with that,
Okay.
even though we don't actually own the cattle.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Chair, just drawing a connection for the Frystead name, do you know the connection with Palma?
Palma would be my wife's great aunt. So
Okay.
William Freisted, the man who homesteaded that, that was his daughter,
Okay.
Palma. So, yeah. So she lived, where we live, we built our home out there. That the original home is no longer exists, but she would have lived out there.
Sure.
Yeah. Before she moved into town, and I think she lived at the Bruby Apartments for a while when she wrote all her history, you know, of Morton County.
Indeed. That's the connection.
Correct.
So I guess, you know, just a blanket question again, and you answered it in your narrative, but why do you want to serve on this committee?
Like I said, for me, it's three, I would say, main concepts. It's the heritage and protecting that Morton County heritage that, you know, that my family and the family farm that we live on and that Palma, you know, wrote so much about. And then I believe that the things that I've done in my career, I bring a unique aspect to the board when it comes to the legal aspect, knowing the laws, and then the teamwork and the bridge building that I have to do just to run the task force. You know, we have, you know, 5 stakeholders, sheriffs and chiefs that I have to work. Everybody has a different idea of how things should work. And, you know, it's my job to coordinate so that works efficiently. And I think that there's some parallels with the planning and zoning where you have the whole entirety of community that is Morton County as our stakeholders, and about listening to them and bridging those gaps and understanding their needs in order to, you know, create and build a, you know, that we ensure that we protect and preserve the heritage while also building that future and ensuring proper growth done with our values.
Thank you.
Mr. Capella, I've got, you know, I don't know you, but looking through your resume and how you've come across, you know, I start to form a little bit of an opinion, and I think you'd be an outspoken voice on the Planning and Zoning Commission, which is good. I'm also very sensitive that we're representing all of Morton County. You know, we've got a lot of us reside right around Mandan, and that perception can be out there that that's what we're worried about, and we don't worry about the rest of the county, and that, quite frankly, is incorrect. But and gives me some comfort that you're out and actively engaged in farming and doing things like that. So, is it a fair statement to say you're kind of a command and control type of person? And how would you how would you form a consensus if you were trying to convince others on the commission of your point of view?
You know, I think that's something that has been a part of my career since the start of it. In law enforcement, you know, that I've spent, you know, the last decade or plus in, is you have to learn and build those skills, because when you deal with people for the most of the part, it's not always in the best circumstances, or there's emotions, or there's personalities that get involved, which is, you know, when you sit on a board, I think there's those emotions and personalities on the board. And that's the one thing that we train to deal with, to keep a level head, to build consensus, to discuss, to talk, but most importantly, listen. And I think that's what separates the average person in my profession from the good ones, is the ability to listen to people, to take your time, work with them, and hear other perspectives. And, you know, for what I have to do, I'm not afforded the luxury of being biased. I have to let the facts lead me to where I have to go, otherwise I'd be a very poor law enforcement officer. And I think that's, you know, if there is a disagreement or there's a conflict on the board, you know, it would be a matter of listening to all parties involved, and then letting the facts go where they need to go so you can make the proper decision. I think you can be passionate about things, but you also have to be open to where those facts lead you.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions from, okay, you guys are all good? Luke, can you state your name for the record?
It's Luke Capella.
Thank you. Just that we get it on the
Yes,
voice
sir.
record. Okay, anybody, nothing else?
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr. Camisa.
short one at the podium. We'll lower it to my eye height here. Good evening, Chair Boehm, Commissioners, Auditor Roan. Appreciate the opportunity to come up and address a little bit about myself. Most of you know me. Commissioner Tokash, I don't think we've had an opportunity to meet. Looking beyond the many pages of the resume that I submitted, my background comes in two forms, government administration, program administration, and land title work. I live in the heart of the city, so I am in the old portion downtown area of Mandan. But I do understand the relationship between city and county. That stems from the 4 years that I've served on the Mandan City Commission, 2 of those years as the vice president of the commission. I've spent 5 years on the city commission, had a chance to serve with Commissioner Zachmeyer when he was on that board and the portfolio holder for the county. Worked as a commissioner overseeing board oversight of the engineering and planning department. So I have worked extensively, very closely with city planning and engineering operations as well as other departments. Current work, I work for Bismarck State College in workforce training. So I spend a lot of time talking to businesses and nonprofits and government entities and working to provide workforce training services to those entities as well as legislators. So I do have a background in building consensus. I know that was one of the questions that was brought up. 4 years sitting on a publicly elected board, 5 years on an appointed board. The governor had appointed me 6 years, 2 terms to the State Library Coordinating Council. We do a lot of grant funding through that body as well as some advisory capacity for the state library. So I understand the nature, the give and take nature of appointed boards. I also extensively understand the role that planning and zoning plays to you as the county commission, the value of that input, the fact finding, and the understanding of what is going on and understanding what the impact of a project is before we make that recommendation. Looking at my land title background, I am not a farmer. I don't work in agriculture, but I will say, having worked in commercial title operations for about 6 years, I am very well versed in North Dakota state title law. That is something that title examiners are required to know in order to produce insurance policies. So I have worked on everything from a $165 million hotel in the Twin Cities all the way to family homesteads in North Dakota. I understand the role of farming. I understand the value and how families feel about that homestead and the lineage that so many families have from the days of the homestead patent going forward. I have a technical understanding of plats, irregular plats. I was kind of the one person on the Mandan City Planning and Zoning that always looked at the technical aspects for legal requirements to make sure that plats that are eventually recorded by the city were in legal compliance and that there would not be any issues going down the road. So I was one that would always bring those up during a meeting. So I have quite a varied background. I would appreciate the opportunity to serve. I love serving my community. I've lived in Mandan for about 11 years. My wife is a native of Mandan, Morton County, married to a Fedig. Obviously, I do not have a good Morton County last name, nor a North Dakota last name, as I come from the East Coast. But I love serving. The 11 years that I have lived in Mandan, I have served the city of Mandan in some capacity for almost 10 of those years. And I would love the opportunity to continue doing that. I'll stand for any questions.
Commissioners.
Well, Mr. Chair, I'll ask the same question. I didn't get a chance to ask Mr. Dahl, but why do you want to serve on this board?
I'd like to continue my service. I believe my blend of understanding of how government operates and land title background would provide some technical knowledge and support to the body. I also think, from a planning and zoning standpoint, it is one of the, I agree, it is probably the most important commission that we have at a county level or a city level. And it's really going to be that input body to ask the tough questions, to push back, are we going in the right direction for our community? And I want to see Mandan, I want to see Morton County as a whole progress in the right direction. I do not have any particular issue or axe to grind in any particular way. I have a broad, open mind. I look at the code, I look at the law, and I move forward with my recommendations based on what is presented and what the county, or in my case, the city zoning code calls for. So I'd just like the opportunity to continue serving, continue on to that 9.5-year tradition that I've had.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
I want to make sure I get Camisa correct.
Perfect.
All right, thank you.
I will not correct anybody if they say it wrong.
No,
I honestly don't.
I want to make sure I'm addressing you correctly. Mr. Camisa, when you were serving as a city commissioner for Mandan and planning and zoning, you're involved with all of that. I'll rephrase this a little bit. Planning and zoning, at least on the county level, we've got some big issues coming up, and this isn't a litmus test on how you would vote. I'm not even going to ask you on any of this, but if you take a stance on a topic or a something that's brought before the board, and whichever way it goes, have you had the opportunity before to vigorously defend your decision and explain why you made a decision the way you did while you were on the city commission for Mandan? And I may go back and take a look at some of those meetings.
I would. It's very entertaining television. Anybody who has had a chance to listen to my 4 years on Dakota Access knows that I was the opinionated guy at the end of the table. I have voiced concerns. I have also sought consensus. I would be, especially with planning and zoning, I'll use the example of daycare centers. In the city of Mandan, we have a shortage. Most of our daycare is being provided through home daycare centers. Homes being converted into daycare. And so we had a situation where there was a neighbor dispute where a center would go in at a planning and zoning board meeting. So we had both parties come up and testify for and against. And I specifically, during my time asking questions, asked, what are your main concerns? What are your main concerns? If we can address them. In this particular situation, it was the kids drawing on his fence. So I said, can we put a setback and make sure the kids don't get near the fence? And he said, yes, that's fine. So I look for common sense, logical approaches to building that consensus. I look to see how, whether it's the rule of law or just common sense, period, and I use that as my foundation for building that consensus. And so being that we were able to come to the agreement that, okay, the kids won't go near the fence, we now have a daycare center that we were able to get open in the city of Mandan. And so that's the approach I take. I don't come in a lot of times with an opinion one way or another. I might have an opinion when I walk in, but after I'm done listening to all the parties that are testifying or giving for or against testimony, I might be swayed. So I don't come in, I'm hard, this is a no, or this is a yes, and everything else gets shoved off to the side. So I'm looking at, does the code allow this? Does the Century Code allow this? And how does it affect our community? That's my litmus test when I'm looking at an issue.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Questions?
Mr. Chair, I got one more. Ms. Camisa, again, looking at your role on the city planning and zoning, how can you correlate the difference for a county planning and zoning?
In terms of
Its use and
scope?
implementation, the scope, its use, its implementation, the laws or regulations that we incorporate. What do you see as the major differences?
The major difference is that at the local, you're going to have primarily the city, you're going to have the ETA. the 2 miles around the city. When you're looking at it county-wide, you're going to have, if you're setting new zoning code, if you are making new rules that are blanket, not to a particular application, but you're looking at zoning changes, you have a number of smaller communities that you are going to have to take into consideration. It's not just going to be, we have to think about Mandan, or we have to think about Glen Olin, or whatever others, I'm drawing a blank on some of our Flasher, St. Anthony, some of those other communities that are in our county. What are the implications of something broad from one side of the county to the other going to be on multiple towns and cities? It's going to be a bigger scope, and there's going to be a lot more context and a lot more impact, I would say, at the county level, because you are impacting so many different other communities versus at a city level, where we're looking at neighborhoods. How does one decision impact one neighborhood over another? The county level, how does one decision impact one city or town over the other? And so I would say that's one of the biggest challenges, is understanding that scope, understanding the nature of those communities when you are making those decisions. I would say I've had an opportunity in my land title work to work in a lot of rural communities, not just larger communities like Mandan or Bismarck or Fargo. I've worked in rural areas in North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Montana with land title, and a lot of it is agriculture. Wind farms, worked on a lot of wind farms, worked on a lot of pipelines, a lot of highway right-of-way work for the Department of Transportation. I understand, it's a big county, a lot of communities in there, and your decision is not just going to impact one community center, you're impacting many.
Thank you.
Did you state your name, Joe, at the beginning? We kind of roll in real quick. I know I said it.
I will say Joseph Camisa, go by Joe.
Okay. Anybody else?
I do have a question.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, how, I don't know how to say this, the use of moving the urban sprawl that is expanding into Mandan and encroaching into the agricultural community, how would you discuss that?
That is a very complicated topic. As a commissioner in the city, I did not want to see a lot of urban sprawl. I didn't want the boundaries going out drastically, mainly from a service providing standpoint. The more roads you have put in, remote subdivisions from the city, that creates service issues, police issues, fire response, things like that. I think from a planning standpoint, if the ETA and going beyond the ETA isn't coordinated very well, you are going to have a heck of a hodgepodge of uses, land types, constant people trying to get into areas where maybe the mill levy is lower out in the county versus a city, and so they just want to go right to the edge. So I think there is going to be an impact of having that sprawl where people they want to be close to the city, but they just want to be right on the other side of that county line or the incorporation line. Mm-hmm. And that will impact agricultural operations, because they're going to say, well, I don't want to be next to a dairy operation, or I don't want to be next to, maybe it's a gravel pit operation. So you're gonna have uses competing with each other. I mean, that's I guess the best way that I can try to sum it up without having a 5-hour dissertation, is that you're going to have a lot of uses starting to run into each other, and that you really need to have an organized approach, looking at the ETA, and then as you start going outside the ETA.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd have a question for all three.
Sure.
I wanted to save them.
That's what I was going to say. Is there anything for anybody else?
Yep, it's all three. Is, right now, the biggest argument is individual property rights. And the biggest argument is whose individual property rights are the ones that need to be protected, or are the most important. Is it the current landowner who wants to do a project on his property? Or wants to sell or lease his property to another who wants to do a project? Or is it the neighbors nearby who feel that the project might infringe on their property rights? Or don't want the project for whatever reason? Because members of this board, you're gonna get that phone call. And the person on the other end is going to be pretty adamant one way or the other. So whose property rights are gonna be more important? And how are you gonna compromise it? Is it going to be the individual property owner, or is it gonna be the neighbors? Because you're gonna get those phone calls. So who's right? And how are you gonna try to work your way through it? Anybody that wants to answer it?
Well, I've had many of those phone calls. When it comes to something that is very, a lot of conflict, I look at what does the zoning code say? What does our long use, the long-term plan say? Does it fit within that? Obviously, if it doesn't fit within the long-range plan, that plan does change, but I think that's an element that I look at. I look at the zoning code. For me, the zoning code is a list of restrictions, not if it's not saying that it's restricted, you can have a use, you can use it. You can do X, Y, and Z. When it comes to something that could impact the neighborhood, for me, is from a planning and zoning standpoint, I look at, is it allowed? Is it legal? Is it under code? Are we granting it a variance? Because for me, if it's something that they're just looking for a zone change and not a variance to the current zoning, that has a great impact on me. So looking at the neighbors, there have been situations where I've thought, yeah, I can see the issue with a particular project impacting the neighborhood and have sided one way. But for the most part, there is usually a lot of not in my backyard, and we hear a lot of that. And so it's really on a case-by-case basis of, is it something that will create progress, or is it something that will hinder progress going forward? And that's what I tried to the best of my ability to base my decision on and explain as my foundation. You said, how do you build consensus? Like, how do you defend your position? Well, the code says yes, the long-range plan says yes. It's something that, there is transitional barriers maybe between that use and other uses in the neighborhood. It's really hard to say cut and dry how you look at that, but these are the elements that I look at when dealing with those type of issues. And I will flat out, I have no problem stating my opinion that this is why I say this. It's based on X, Y, and Z under the Century Code, under County Code, and the long-range plan. I'll let anybody else come up and answer.
I would agree that the owner has the rights. That is a part of the ownership. Now, it would be up to the commission to make sure that the planning and zoning code is followed to protect the rights of everybody else around it. There's got to be a checklist. Are you doing everything? And if that is, I think it's a viable project then. But if they want to build a nuclear reactor, right outside, obviously, you can't do something like that. But there must be codes that stop that as well. But yes, ownership has rights. And I've heard you talk before, if they don't like it, don't sell it. It's pretty simple. Or don't sign the lease. But yes, you do have to mind the people around it as well and take their consideration. You just can't ignore it. You can't turn it down. And you can't come into a project and say, absolutely not. That's not how this works. Mm-hmm. Everything has to be heard. The process has to be followed.
I'm going to steal a little bit what Joe said. I do, there's so many hypotheticals in that situation that could change the outcome or change the decision, but I think the North Dakota Century Code gave us a framework, and it allows for Morton County to operate within that framework. And I think when you look at what Morton County Commission and what the planning and zoning future plans look like and the direction we want to go, I think that is the framework you want to start with, just as Joe was saying, and work under to give you that start. Then it's about consensus building and about conflict resolution, working with those people, working with whether the landowner, the neighbor, whoever else, discussing, listening, educating, and then working with those people. I think that's the most important thing. To do that within that framework will help you push through and navigate those things, because no black and white anything will be, I don't think you can set yourself up for that, because you're going to fail if you do that. I think it's about living in that framework and then working in consensus building and conflict resolution within that to do what's best for Morton County and ensure that the values of our citizens are met. And that's my opinion on it.
And one more,
Sure.
Chairman?
Go ahead.
In this, on that board, there will be times there's going to be people inviting you to meetings outside of board times. It's inevitable, it's coming. They're gonna invite you to meetings where they want your support for a project. They'll invite you to meetings where they want you to oppose a project. There's going to be tons of emails, tons of telephone calls, some at all hours of the night, some of them angry, some friendly. But either way, there's going to be people bombarding you with information that isn't necessarily presented at the board. And how will you guys navigate that volume of information and work your way through that?
So for me, Chairman Boehm and Commissioners, I live my life on perpetual on-call. So I get calls all the time, all hours of the night. All kinds of people call me, whether it be people in the drug world or the law enforcement world or whatever else. So I'm used to phone calls. It might be refreshing for me to actually get a phone call from a normal person once in a while than people who call me on a regular basis. As far as opinions and meetings and things like that, I enjoy educating myself and learning. I don't have as much experience as, let's say, Joe does in the code enforcement area, but I look forward to learning about it. Any new endeavor that I take, I soak myself into that knowledge and try to learn, and so I can be a positive team member. I don't want to be the person who's bringing the team down. So I would, for me personally, I would enjoy going to meetings for or against just to learn about things. But I also believe very highly in my integrity. You can ask me to believe something or, sell me some propaganda, but it's not gonna sway me, I guess. I believe highly in my integrity, and I'm gonna do what I feel is right, and what I feel is right if I'm sitting on a board by the citizens of Morton County.
It's been generally my rule of thumb, if somebody's sending me an email, I'm copying the planning and zoning director, or I'm sending them a copy. I did that at the city. If they are sending me information that is pertinent to one commissioner on the P&Z commission, it's pertinent to all. And so I will send that to the director and let the director decide if that's something to share with other fellow directors. I did that on the city commission as well. If somebody would send me a letter, I turn it over to the city administrator and have him share it to the other commissioners, so that I'm not violating any open meeting laws by copying more than one commissioner on the rule email. So we're following the rules. I don't do one-on-one meetings. That's just not how I work. If somebody wants to meet about a planning and zoning issue, I will meet you, again, from the capacity of the city. I will meet you in the Veterans Conference Room of City Hall with the city administrator and the planning director. I would do the same thing here. So if somebody wants to meet with me, I would have the director sit with me so that we are having an open conversation. I don't believe in behind closed doors. Never did when I was a city commissioner. Didn't believe in it when I was a planning and zoning commissioner. What can be said to me behind closed doors can be said in a public meeting. So that's my approach to that.
As far as attending propaganda from groups or a group, putting on an extra meeting for a proposal, my theory would be is that they should come to the board to give that meeting and the commission, or maybe a joint session of both. I think having them extracurriculars improperly, if what they're saying is true, they should come to both planning and zoning, county commission, and get it on the record. As far as phone calls, I don't know if that falls into FOIA. I'm very young, but emails, everything should be preserved. But yes, I'm willing to take the slings and arrows. It comes. I've gotten my butt chewed before. But you would be surprised if, I talk with other people, that you will get a lot of consensus that comes your way positive too. You just have to weigh that and then use the planning and zoning guide to weigh your decision, make an open mind.
That's all I've got.
Anybody have any other questions that they wanted to finish up with? Okay. Well, I'll lead off. We haven't grilled applicants for board position like this, and since I've been on this board, I don't think. Commend all three of you tonight. Whatever we decide on who the 4 and the 2-year position that are available, I hope the third person keeps their mind in this and applies for something else or for another position when it does open, because I think all three of you would be very valuable to the county and in any board that we put you on. So with that, commissioners, we have a decision to make. I do believe we should split this up. We have the 4-year position and we have the 2-year position, the unexpired term that ends in 28, and then the 4-year that expires in 2030. Should we just start with the 4-year term? Or how do you guys want to handle this?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion there. I move to appoint Mr. Capella to the 4-year term expiring June 30th, 2030.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to appoint Luke Capella to the 4-year term expiring June 30th, 2030 on the Planning and Zoning Commission. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Trying to get everything written down here. Okay, moving on then to the unexpired term ending 6/30 of 2028. This would be filling Commissioner Kiss resign.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to appoint Joseph Camisa to the 2-year unexpired term.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to appoint Joseph Camisa Jr. to the 2-year unexpired term on the Planning and Zoning Commission expiring 6/30 of 2028. Is there any discussion? Any discussion?
I do have something.
Yep.
I guess I feel pretty strongly that we should get somebody, an agricultural producer that is actually farming that's out in the country. So I just think that Andrew would be a good choice because of that, because we don't have anybody from, I'll say, out in the county since George Sikowski got off the board and he was
Away
from
from
Hebron.
Mandan.
Away from Mandan. That's my only discussion.
Mr. Chair, I would definitely support that fact because again, it allows us that equal representation when we're impeding on the agricultural aspects of Morton County. It allows that direct perspective coming from the Planning and Zoning Board. I think that's very important. We do not need to overlook that piece.
Okay, any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, it's about Mr. Camisa's resume and his previous experience on it with planning and zoning and with all the various housing things. Definitely knows code enforcement. And during his entire service with Mandan and on Mandan Planning and Zoning while I was a county rep on Mandan Planning and Zoning, he was exceptional in following the rules, and all arguments, at least while I was present, were of good, sound judgment, argument, logic, and overall service to the citizens. And that type of knowledge is something that we also need on that board. I also understand where we need to have the roundness of representation from out in the rural areas of the county. I do get that. And I do support that too. It's the amount of experience Mr. Camisa can bring to that board, especially with the hot topics. He is definitely well versed in how to navigate those topics, because I've seen him do it.
Well, Mr. Chair, again, knowing Joe, Mr. Camisa, I've worked with him off and on through my tenure and even before my time as commissioner. His knowledge and expertise in planning and zoning is never not to be questioned. Just making sure that planning and zoning understands the role as Morton County planning and zoning and all that it encompasses. We do not impede upon our incorporated cities. They have their own jurisdiction authority for that. We give governance to everything outside of the incorporated cities. And obviously the big piece of that is our agricultural community. And yes, as Commissioner Buckley had mentioned about that urban sprawl, how we have more and more of these residential developments that pop up and how that becomes a clash with the agricultural community and trying to make that work for all. Because the number one thing that this body strives for is maintaining not only governance but quality of place, and that's important. So just re-emphasizing the fact that representation of Morton County, not any one municipality within Morton County. We have to be very clear on that.
Any other comments?
I just want to reiterate where my comment earlier that fits right along with everything Commissioner Morrell said is I am sensitive to representation for the entire county, and I do appreciate that people that live out in the country and farm and do have a different perspective. I do. I grew up that way. I understand that. At the same time, I think others can represent the county as well.
Okay. Anything else? And I'll make one comment. I've known both of these gentlemen for a very long time. I don't know Luke as well, but worked with Joe and I've worked with Andrew for a lot of years, so this is not an easy decision. I think both of them would do a wonderful job. Joe's had some experience. I think Andrew's up and coming and going to do a good job of whatever he ends up. So how do you guys want to roll call vote?
Sure.
So we sure. Okay, do a roll call vote. Any other discussion? Commissioner Zachmeyer,
And this is for Joseph Camisa.
This is for a 2-year term for Joseph Camisa. That was the
The
motion.
unexpired term.
The unexpired term.
Unexpired term, yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Jackie,
No,
and I would vote no too. And just because of the ag side of it. Motion carries.
I hope my.
Congratulations to
my
you two
sermon
gentlemen.
was-
And Andrew, don't forget about us.
I think you made the right decision.
Yep.
I was the weakest candidate, I will agree.
Yeah.
Sounds like a show on TV. That was the weakest one. Isn't there a show like that?
But no, you keep it in mind when we have other positions or for this board, just keep us in mind, because I think any one of you guys are gonna do a good job. So,
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would ask that, you don't have to hang around for anything after the meeting, but I wouldn't mind having a conversation with you, Mr. Dahl, just, and if you'd be kind enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
all right. Like I said, I think that's the longest appointments we've ever done.
I don't think in 15 years we've had more than 2 or 3 times where we had more applicants than we had positions.
That's,
I know.
that's very true, so we appreciate that very much. All right, next on the agenda would be Paul. You had the Morton County temporary morgue.
Yeah, this is more of an informational item and also just an opportunity for the rest of the commission to weigh in on it. I received a phone call today. The Soil Conservation Service, I believe, has purchased some property, and which means they will very likely, or I say very likely, probably be selling their building in New Salem. Now, none of this is for sure yet, but where this goes is, at some point, we're working under the assumption that that is designated as a emergency morgue.
Yep, that's right.
Okay, and so I'm bringing this up because we've got some experience on the commission here, and so we've looked briefly into century code, et cetera, and my understanding, a little bit of looking I've done, is century code says the coroner can designate a morgue, and if they don't, then they can utilize hospital facilities. Where the question comes in, Soil Conservation Service is requesting for Morton County if we are going to ask them to continue that as a designation. And so this, I see Mr. or Commissioner Zachmeyer nodding his head yes. So do you have some history on that?
I just know that there was one time way back when where it had to be designated. Back when we had our own coroner before we went to the consortium that we belong to now. And previous emergency manager was pretty that you need to have it in case that type of an emergency came. But if they're selling it and they want to sell it, then we're going to have to visit with the morgue or the coroner consortium and probably the sheriff about do we have to designate another one or not.
Right.
But there was a time where the emergency manager would come and that had to be renewed every so often. But that's been a long time already now. But
Right.
that is the designated emergency morgue.
So I've been able to talk to emergency management. They don't believe that's a requirement anymore. They were also going to talk to the state's attorney's office, and I see Mr. Copy nodding his head. I'll see if you've got a thought on that. And I haven't had a chance to talk to Sheriff Kirkmeyer yet, which is probably where it should have gone to begin with. But we're and we have no from our auditor's office, Ms. Rowan. I think we don't have any. We've never had any financial involvement with utilizing that as a or the morgue, correct?
Not in the past 16 years.
Okay.
It's been a while.
Mr. Chairman, would it be possible to get Mr. Copy up here briefly?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm just a quick question, Mr. Copy. I don't know if you had time to dig into any of this today, but can you give us any legal opinion on what the Century Code says as far as our requirements to have a morgue?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, fellow commissioners, Auditor Rowan, I did talk to Joel Rosberg today.
Correct.
And, he pointed out that Section 11, 19.1-12, we can always use existing hospital facilities or a funeral home, for morgue facilities. But also on a factual level, Mr. Rosberg said that the state, I can't remember the name of the agency, but it would be disaster response. Maybe you know what I'm talking about, Luke? They have vans. Like you remember during the COVID epidemic when we would have footage of New York City and how people were dying so quickly and in such numbers that they were putting people into these vans, refrigerated semis. So yeah, we have facilities that we could just lend upon the state to do that.
Department of Health has them over there.
Mr. Chair, formalities, we'd have to declare an emergency, go through Department of Emergency Services, they would allocate through the Department of Human Services, or Department of Health.
Yeah, Department of Health has them down there in
Health
their
and Human
warehouse.
Services is the correct term.
Yes, if heaven forbid we ever had to do that.
And my question comes down to more along the line of how can we give guidance back to the Soil Conservation Service? Is that the coroner's call, or is that this commission's call?
Well, Commissioner Tokash, I think it was just mentioned a moment ago that maybe Sheriff Kirkmeyer should be consulted. So why don't we just do that? I would defer to, see what Sheriff Kirkmeyer, what his views are.
Century Code requires the sheriff to act as the coroner when the coroner is unable to act.
Okay.
He didn't know he had to do that.
Okay, so my next step will be, and I'm getting out of my portfolio here, but I took it to this far, so Commissioner Morrell and I will discuss this and decide the best way to move forward.
Yes.
So.
Okay. Yeah, so whoever has the sheriff has the coroner by default as far as portfolios go.
Correct. Yeah.
We'll touch base.
I just wanted to bring that to this commission's attention, so.
Thank you, Paul. All right, anybody else have anything? If not, we have our public comment period as required by North Dakota Century Code 44-04-20.1. With that, we will open up a public comment period. Start with in the room. If anybody has a public comment about today's agenda or last week's agenda.
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman?
Copy.
Yes, this topic wouldn't be necessarily in that order, but I just want to let the county commissioners know. I spoke with Commissioner Buckley yesterday outside the courthouse, and I had informed her that long-serving Morton County District Judge William F. Hodney died on June 30th, and his funeral was yesterday at the Wise Funeral Home, and it was a very well-attended funeral. He was 93 years old when he died at home on June 30th, just south of Mandan is where he had his home. And he had served Morton County for many, many years. He was a district judge from, I think it was 1987 to 1998. And he was also a surrogate Supreme Court judge. And he was even the county judge when he first came to Mandan in the 1960s. I remember my mother mentioning Judge Hodney when he practiced law with Richard Gallagher back in the 1960s. She worked in the nearby Ellis Agency, so that's how long Judge Hodney has served Morton County, and I would just like to recognize him publicly for his service.
Thank you.
Thank you, Al.
Yeah, man.
Is there any other public comment within the room? Seeing nobody moving yet, is there any public comment online? Second call for public comment online. And the third and final call online or in the room for public comment. Seeing none, I will close the public comment period at 8:09. It was opened at 8:08, or 8:06, sorry. All right, does anyone else have anything good for the order?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, we are adjourned.